welcome back to another video. Today we are doing something that I was so excited to do, which is sharing all of my 5 stars read this year. There are 10 books out of 40 books I read in the past 4 months, which is kind of crazy because for someone who haven't read for about 15 years, when I was 15 years old, I used to read a lot. And so when I started college and then after that university, all of my reading time was about reading for lab reports, studies, exams, and so I pretty much lost the love of reading. And so when I finished my bachelor in chemistry, I started reading ACOTAR and it was life-changing. For that reason, I am very excited to share with you all of the books that made me bawl my eyes out, cry for absolutely no reason because I couldn't point out exactly what made me cry, but the whole book in itself. And so yeah, let's get started. So before we start, grab yourself a coffee, a matcha, or a tea, and let's get started. So I want to start with a series that I am currently finishing, and my heart is completely shattering because I do not want to leave this world. I don't want to say goodbye to these characters. I love them like my own siblings, and that is Shatter Me. The Shatter Me series is a story about a girl called Juliet, and she has a lethal touch. So if she touches anyone, she basically them. And so she is put in an asylum for a couple of years, and this is where the story starts. This is considered a dystopian romance story, and it is just so good, honestly. If you want something that is easy to read, light, but will make you so invested in the story, I really recommend you reading them because they are just everything. I started Shatter Me, I think in September. The first one, which is kind of crazy to me, the first one I didn't like. At first, I was so confused why people were so obsessed with the series. I found Adam so icky. He gave me the ick from start to finish. I know that a lot of people love Adam, but he was not doing it for me. And then Warner was a psychopath for me. I was like, are you guys okay? Are you well? Do you need therapy? Do you need something? Because this guy comes out of nowhere, is literally obsessed with her. That's kind of stalky a bit. But then I read Destroy Me and it all made sense. So this is 2 novellas, and the first one is Destroy Me and this one is in Warner's POV. And so things make a lot of sense after that. This is where my obsession with Warner started, because I was like, oh, things starts to make sense. I like him, but do I love him? But then I read my second 5-star read from this series, which is Ignite Me. And this book made me feel so many things. I read this in a short period of time. It was just so good. I was flying through these pages, and I was actually buddy reading this with my friend Audriane. We are actually still buddy reading it because we are finishing it this month. We just have Reveal Me, which is the novella, and then Imagine Me, which is the last book, which is killing us because we're like, oh my god, we're going to need like a girl therapy because after that we know we are going to be destroyed. But yeah, so Ignite Me is, I think, the 3rd book. I know that a lot of people love Unravel Me, which is the 2nd book, but this one did it for me. I love the relationship between our MNC and our FMC. They are learning so much about each other, and the tension between them is just like back and forth and back and forth. FMC just cannot give herself completely, and this is just so good. But yeah, love Ignite Me. Then the story continues and it's super interesting, and I loved most of these books in the Shatter Me series. I gave 4 or 4.5 or 5 stars, except one, which is the POV of Adam, and I was like, this could have been an email. This could have been an email. Like, I did not need this. I did not want his POV. I did not like him from the start. Honestly, he was not it for me. And fight me. The story continues. And so I thought nothing will compare to Ignite Me for me. Ignite Me was it. It was there. It was up the scale. Nothing will be just as good. But oh boy, was I wrong. Because when I read Define Me, the tears, the emotional damage this book did to me, I don't even have the words to tell you how much I cried. There's so much things that unravels in this book. One of the biggest plot is unraveled in this book. This author, the way she writes these characters is just so good. You'd get attached to so many of them. I can't even like choose between Warner, Kenji, Juliet, even Castle, and all of these other characters, Nazira. I love them so much. It is so hard for me to choose to rank them because they are just that good. All of them, they're all so different, yet also attaching. So yeah, this book was a wreck. Will always have my heart. I love where the plot is going. I think what I loved the most is that I didn't know where this was going. Nothing was predictable in Hi Muka. You want to be part of the video? In a way that made me so immersed in the universe. I was Juliet. I was that girl who had a little touch. And so for that, this was a 6 stars. It just made me feel things none of the other books made me feel. I cried, I laughed, and it's just so good, honestly. If you are a romantasy girl and you liked Hunger Games and Divergent, this is for you. Do not sleep on this series. If you don't like Shadow Me, the first book, keep going. I swear it gets so much better, and the reward of reading the first book will come to you. The second series of this year that I'm probably going to finish for sure is, of course, Akatar. I don't know what to say. It is honestly mind-blowing, heart-shattering. This series made me, it made me go crazy. I was feeling things that I've never felt in my life. It healed me so much. Honestly, for me, Akatar was a therapy session for the past 4 months. I actually had to stop after the third because it was just too much. I had like this addiction, this obsession with this series that I had to like separate myself from it for a bit and read other things because I was honestly just so obsessed. Like, obsessed is not even a word enough to express how much I loved it. The 2 books that I gave 5 stars are obviously A Court of Mist and Fury and A Court of Wings and Ruin. I actually just finished this one last week and finished A Court of Frost and Starlight, which I liked. It's not a 5 star. This is a 5 stars, but this is a 6 stars. This was plot driven. We had to learn so much more about the world, the magical powers, everything about the characters. But this, the love story behind this, the depth of their relationship is just, this will never be topped. I am still trying to find a book that will make me feel like I felt when I read this book. This was a fever dream for me. It was a fever dream. I cannot describe it in any other way than a fever dream. Every time I was immersed in this book, I felt like I was not myself. I was not in this world. I was not in a reality. I was just somewhere else with other people, other characters, and these were my family. These were my people. I will not take any criticism from Farah. Reese, I'm starting to... I know this is crazy to me because if you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, you know how obsessed I am with Reese. But Reese, A Court of Frost and Starlight, I'm starting to like, I don't know, not care as much as I used to, which is crazy to me. But Farah is my girl. She is me in a fantasy romance. She is my everything. So yeah, 6 stars. 6 stars. Please, if you have any recommendation for something that will make me feel the way this book made me feel, please put them down below because I need it. Next, which is the only series I finished this year, and it is the Belladonna series. I loved this series. I think it is considered YA, and I'm not a YA girl personally, but I loved the series so much. I gave the first book 4.75. The second book, I think I gave 5 stars if I'm not mistaken, but the third book made me cry so much. I had to put the book down and just bawl. I was bawling my eyes out. And I just discovered actually that there's like a 3.5 novella coming next year. And I'm so excited because these characters need so much more. I need to be with them again. And I just love them so much. I think Mocha wanted to say hi. Oh. This story is about a girl called Signa, and parents died a couple of years ago, and so she inherited a huge sum of money, and so she can only inherit when she is 18. And so from that moment when she was, I think, like a couple of years old, like maybe 2 to 3 years old, from this age until 18, she had different guardians, and these guardians always die for some reason, and so people think that she is cursed by death. And so that is pretty much a very common thing for her, and she has a hatred for it because everyone always dies around her except her. So yeah, the story starts like that. The first book I gave 4.75 because it wasn't a 5-star for me, and the only reason is because there was something missing in that book that I couldn't figure out exactly what, but everything made sense after reading Foxglove. And then when I read Wisteria, which is the third book that I have in my library, everything made sense at the end. Everything was connected in such a beautiful way that even Wisteria for me is a 6 stars, and I cried so much at the end of that book because I just wanted more. I just wanted to be with them. I wanted to see them together. I just wanted more of these characters. I wanted to see more of them interacting with each other. And so I feel like it has so much potential to even have like another series following them into other adventures. I don't want to say more because I don't want to spoil anything, but I know that there's going to be a 3.5, which is a novella following these characters, which I am so excited about. I cannot wait. When this novella is going to be out, I will be in front of a bookstore and I will be picking it up the day it releases because I need to be with them again. I love them so much. So yeah. Next is a book that I read during the last week of October, and it was the perfect read. It was like perfect book, perfect timing, and this is Phantasma. This book was so good. It is about a girl called Ophelia, and she is a necromancer. She actually inherits her necromancer abilities from her mom's death. This is like in the first couple of lines, and so she has to participate in a trial in a manor called Phantasma. The reason is her sister participated in that test, and so she has to go there to rescue her sister. And then she discovers a man that is called Blackwell, and he is kind of like a spirit, and this is where it starts. So I don't want to say more because it is just so good. If you ever want to pick a good October book, this is it. But you could read this pretty much anytime in the year, but if you want that Halloween touch, this is it. Next book, which is such a surprise because I did not expect I would like this, is Quicksilver. When I read the back cover of this book, I was not convinced, if I'm being honest. I was not convinced. I thought, I'm not sure. It's a chunky book. Am I going to be bored? Am I going to be confused? But from the start, you are put in this book. If you want something that will remind you of A Court of Thorn and Roses, pick this up because I loved this book so much. It is about a 24 years old girl called series, and she has powers, and she actually steals from the queen, who pretty much let people die from hunger and thirst. And so one day she tries and steal a piece of metal and ends up being caught. And for that reason, she is brought to the queen to pretty much get killed. And from that moment, she opens up a portal to another realm. And in that moment, someone grabs her from that realm and bring her somewhere else. And that's all I'm going to say, because I want you to experience all of the packed action there is in this book. I was not bored for a second in this book. It was just good from start to finish. I loved it so much. And Kingfisher, you know, listen to the audiobook. I listened to this on Audible and I do not regret a single second of it. Last book, but not the least, oh boy no, is Metal Slinger. Metal Slinger was, I think, my 2024 surprise. This book is about a girl called Bryn who lives with Alaha, and they live on the sea. They have a peace treaty with the Kenta, who lives on ground, and once a year they get to be back on the ground and go to the market and shop. And something at the market happens which will cause the whole story to evolve. And so from that moment at the market, which is pretty much the first chapter or the second one, from that moment it is just action packed. Every chapter there's something happening. You do not get to rest. This book came in such a good moment in my life. I wanted something different, and so I went in blind with this book. I saw Amy Rossum actually talk about it, and she was flabbergasted how much she loved it. And so I picked it up right away because I wanted something different, something that was going to put me out of my slum. And this one was just so good. The story is so different than anything I've read before. The characters and the whole story is just so good, so well made. The writing is beautiful. You feel so much for these characters, and the ending was just absolutely crazy. For someone who actually picked up these crumbs right away, I was left jaw dropped. I was like, absolutely no way. I cannot believe this is happening. Ain't no way. When I came back and saw some of these chapters, I was like, oh my god, all of this makes so much sense. And I was so mad at myself for not picking this up, but this is what it makes this book so good. It is just so well written. You are left trying to relax and have a good time, and then she picks you up at the end and she's like, gotcha. Didn't think this was going to happen, right? And yeah, I did not think this was going to happen. Even knowing that something was going to happen at the end. Let's do like a playback of me reading this book. This is me. That was me. I was like, oh wait, there's something, there's more, and then I got to the acknowledgement and I was like, well, okay, sure. When's the next book coming out, right? So yeah, if you haven't picked up Metal Slinger, this is your sign. Go buy it, read it. It is really good. So yeah, these are my 10 5-star reads of the year. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please make sure to subscribe and comment what are your 5-star reads of this year. So let me know what kind of content you guys want to see in the next couple of weeks. I have so many ideas and I'm very excited to be sharing all of those with you in the next couple of weeks. Have a lovely rest of your day. Love you. Bye.